Hey, hi, hello there and welcome back to Formula Amateur, where today we are talking about a very critical race. It's the Qatar Grand Prix, the penultimate round, and we are talking all about the first practice sessions, the sprints, the qualies, and the races, the standings. And we have crowned a champion in Formula 2. Will we crown a champion in Formula 1? It's all to come for, so get ready for all of this. Let's get into it, shall we? Okay, so let's kick off with the free practice session for Formula 2. And in 22nd position was Van Hoopen with 20 laps. And then in 21st it was Wharton with 19 laps. In 20th it was Dirksen with 19 laps. In 19th it was Shields with 20 laps. In 18th it was Solov with 20 laps. In 17th it was Lindblad with 20 laps. In 16th it was Mini with 19 laps. In 15th it was Miata with 21 laps. In 14th it was Martin with 19 laps. In 13th it was Montoya with 18 laps. In 12th it was Bennett with 20 laps. In 11th it was Miney with 20 laps. In 10th it was Crawford with 20 laps. In 9th it was Villagomez with 20 laps. In 8th it was Stenshorn with 21 laps. In 7th it was Goethe with 19 laps. In 6th it was Verschoor with 17 laps. In 5th it was Stanek with 20 laps. In 4th it was Browning with 19 laps. In 3rd it was Dunn with 18 laps. In 2nd it was Bogdanovic with 19 laps. And in 1st it was Fornaroli with 20 laps. So now on to sprint qualifying. Where did the Formula 2 guys end up when they started the sprint? Well, in 22nd it was Van Hoopen, in 21st it was Wharton, in 20th it was Miney, in 19th it was Shields, in 18th it was Browning, in 17th it was Lindblad, in 16th it was Miata, in 15th it was Crawford, in 14th it was Mini, in 13th it was Bennett, but he would start the race, the sprint race in 12th. In 12th it was Stenshorn who would start the race in 11th. In 11th it was Bogdanovic who started the race in 10th, and then in 10th it was Goethe who started 13th. He received a substantial grid penalty, 3-place grid penalty for both races this weekend, and as a result started 13th. In 9th it was Fornaroli, in 8th it was Martin, in 7th it was Stanek, in 6th it was Dunn, in 5th it was Montoya, in 4th it was Solov, in 3rd it was Villagomez, in 2nd it was Dirksen, and in 1st it was Verschoor. So how did the sprint turn out for Formula 2? Well, the results are as follows. In 22nd it was Wharton who dropped 1 place and had a DNF. In 21st it was Miney who also dropped 1 place and had a DNF. In 20th it was Shields who dropped 1 place and had a DNF as well. In 19th it was Van Hoopen who gained 3 positions. In 18th it was Lindblad who lost 1 position. In 17th was Browning who gained 1 position. In 16th was Miata who stayed where he was. In 15th it was Bennett who dropped 2 places from where he qualified, but 3 places overall due to where he started. And then in 14th it was Goethe who dropped 4 places to where he would have started, but in actual fact he dropped only 1 place to where he did start due to the penalty. In 13th it was Stanek who dropped 6 places to where he started. In 12th it was Mini who gained 2 places, and then Martin in 11th who dropped 3 places. In 10th it was Solov who dropped 6 places. He would have finished 3rd had it not been that he was hit by Villagomez in the final lap and lost a lot of positions. And then in 9th it was Bogdanovic who gained 2 positions to where he qualified, but 1 overall to where he started. In 8th it was Crawford who gained 7 positions. In 7th it was Stenshorn who gained 5 positions to where he qualified, but 4 where he started. In 6th it was Fornaroli who gained 3 positions. In 5th it was Dunn who gained 1 position. In 4th it was Montoya who gained 1 position. And then in 3rd it was Villagomez who stayed where he was. In 2nd it was Dirksen who stayed where he was. And in 1st, the winner of the race was was Vasseur. But where did the Formula 2 guys actually qualify? Well, in 22nd, as you would have guessed, it was Van Hoopen who stayed where he was comparison to the first practice, and the same goes for Wharton in 21st. He stayed where he was. In 20th was Miney, who dropped 9 positions to where he was in the first practice, and then in 19th it's Shields who stayed where he was. In 18th it was Browning, who dropped 14 positions to first practice, and then in 17th was Lindblad, who stayed where he was. In 16th it was Miata, who dropped 1 position. In 15th it was Crawford, who dropped 5 positions. In 14th it was Minnie, who gained 2 positions. In 13th it was Bennett, who dropped 1 position. In 12th it was Stenshorn, who dropped 4 positions. In 11th was Boganovic, who dropped 9 positions. In 10th was Vasseur, who dropped 4 positions. In 9th was Dirksen, who gained 11 positions. In 8th was Villagomez, who gained 1 position. In 7th it was Solov, who gained 11 positions. In 6th it was Montoya, who gained 7 positions. In 5th it was Dunn, who dropped 2 positions. In 4th it was Stanek, who would gain 1 position from where he was, but he would start the race in 3rd. And then in 3rd it was Martin, who would start the race in 2nd and gain 11 positions, and in 2nd Fornaroli qualified and dropped 1 position, but he would start the race in 1st. And in 1st it was Goethe, who would actually start the race in 4th, but gained 6 positions to where he was in practice. Now, after all of that good confusing stuff, let's start with the race. So who were the casualties at the very bottom? Well, in 22nd it was Miata, who had a mechanical failure when he was coming into the pits and dropped 6 positions. And then in 21st it was actually Goethe, who did not have a great weekend, but he would have thought he had when he qualified first, but actually did not, and dropped 20 positions to where he qualified, but overall 17 positions to where he started. In 20th it was Shields, who dropped 1 position. In 19th it was Wharton, who gained 2 positions. In 18th it was Van Hopen, who gained 4 positions. In 17th it was Bennett, who dropped 4 positions. In 16th it was Miney, who gained 4 positions. In 15th it was Stenshorn, who dropped 3 positions. In 14th it was Dirksen, who dropped 5 positions. In 13th it was Minnie, who gained 1 position. In 12th it was Villagomez, who dropped 4 positions. In 11th it was Crawford, who gained 4 positions. In 10th it was Browning, who gained 8 positions. In 9th it was Boganovic, who gained 2 positions. In 8th it was Stanek, who dropped 1 position to where he... Then it was Stanek, who dropped 4 positions to where he qualified, but 5 were to where he started. And in 7th it was Solov, who stayed where he was. In 6th it was Vasseur, who gained 4 positions. In 5th it was Montoya, who gained 1 position. In 4th it was Lindblad, who gained 13 positions. In 3rd it was Dunn, who gained 2 positions. In 2nd it was Fornaroli, who stayed where he was to where he qualified, but overall dropped 1 position to where he actually started. And in 1st it was Martin, who gained 2 positions to where he qualified, but 1 position to where he started. So now it's the penultimate round of the races for Formula 2, but we have already crowned the champion, who was Leonardo Fornaroli. And how are the standings looking? Well, in 1st it was Fornaroli with 211 points, followed by Crawford in 2nd with 170 points, 41 points behind Fornaroli. In 3rd it was Vasseur with also 170 points, so he is on the same standing as Crawford. And then in 4th it's Brown with 162 points, 8 points behind Vasseur. In 5th it was Dunn with 149, he's 13 points behind Browning. In 6th it was Lindblad with 121 points, 28 points behind Dunn. In 7th it was Pepe Marti with 112 points, 9 points behind Lindblad, but he is no longer racing in the championship as he is starting his new role in Formula E. So he did not race and was replaced by Solov. And then in 8th it's Boganovic with 99 points, 13 points behind Marti. In 9th it's Martin with 95 points, 4 points behind Boganovic. In 10th it's Montoya with 91 points, 4 points behind Martin. In 11th it's Stanek with 85 points, he's 6 points behind Montoya. In 12th it's Dirksen with 74 points, 9 points behind Stanek. In the 13th it's Minnie with 57 points, he's 17 points behind Dirksen. In 14th it's Villagomez Gomez with 35 points, 22 points behind Mini. In 15th, it's Miata with 26 points, 9 points behind Villa Gomez. In 16th, it's Maney with 26 points. He is on the same points as Miata. In 17th, it's Goethe with 23 points, 3 points behind Maney and Miata. In 18th, it's Solov with his 6 points, 17 points behind Goethe, but this was his first race in Formula 2, so I think that's pretty impressive considering that some of these drivers have less points and have been in the sport for much longer. And then in 7th, it's Cordial with 3 points, and that's 3 points behind Solov, but he is also no longer racing and was replaced with Stenshorn. And then in 8th, it's Megatuniv with 2 points, 1 point behind Cordial. He is also not racing. And he was replaced by originally Stenshorn, but now it's Wharton. And then in 9th, it's Stenshorn, who has 2 points and is on the same point as Megatuniv. And then in 10th, it's Bennett, who is on 1 point behind Stenshorn. And then in 23rd, it's Esterson with 0 points, 1 point behind Bennett, and he is also no longer racing, and he was replaced with Van Hoopen, who has been there since Baku, just like Stenshorn, but Stenshorn is now with Rodin. And then in 24th, it's Shield with 0 points as well, so no points difference to Esterson. And then in 25th is Van Hoopen, who has only had 2 stints, 2 weekends so far, and is also on 0 points. And then in 26th, it's Wharton, who it was his first race weekend in Formula 2 as well, and he is also on 0 points. But how are the teams looking? Because in the final race, we will determine who is the best constructor in Formula 2. Well, Invicta is at the top with 296 points, with their drivers Fornaroli and Stanek. In high-tech TGR, it's 261 points, so they are 35 points behind Invicta, with their drivers being Browning and Boganovic. And then in 3rd, it's Campos Racing with 239 points. They are 22 points behind high-tech, and that's it with their drivers Lindblad, Marty, who, as I said, is no longer there, and Solov. And then in 4th, it's Dams Lucas Oil with 196 points, 70 points behind Campos, their drivers being Crawford and Miney. And for MP Motorsport, it's 193 points, 03 points behind Dams Lucas Oil, their drivers being Goethe and Verschoor. And then with Rodin, it's 154 points for them, and they are 39 points behind MP Motorsport, with their drivers being Dunn, Cordial and Stenshorn. And then with Prema Racing being next, they are on 148 points, 6 points behind Rodin, their drivers being Montoya and Mini. In Art Grand Prix, they're on 121 points, 27 points behind Prema, and their drivers being Martin and Miata. And then AIX Racing is next on 74 points. They are 47 points behind Art Grand Prix, their drivers being Dirksen and Shields. And then for Van Amersfoort Racing being next, being 10th with 36 points, 38 points behind AIX Racing, and they've got Bennett and Villa Gomez as drivers. And then in the final position, in 11th, it's Trident with 2 points, 34 points behind Van Amersfoort Racing, and their drivers being Megatuniv, Esterson, Van Hoopen, Wharton, and for one weekend it was also Stenshorn. And now we move on to Formula 1, and the only free practice session that we had, where in 20th position, surprise surprise, it's Colapinto with 26 laps, and then in 19th it's Lawson with 30 laps, in 18th it's Gasly with 25 laps, in 17th it's Ocon with 30 laps, in 16th it's Bortoleto with 29 laps, in 15th it's Behrman with 26 laps, in 14th it's Russell with 33 laps, in 13th it's Tsunoda with 28 laps, in 12th it's Hamilton with 28 laps, in 11th it's Hulkenberg with 23 laps, in 10th it's Antonelli with 32 laps, in 9th it's Stroll with 26 laps, in 8th it's Leclerc with 31 laps, in 7th it's Albon with 29 laps, in 6th it's Verstappen with 27 laps, in 5th it's Hadjar with 30 laps, in 4th it's Sainz with 20 laps, in 3rd it's Alonso with 26 laps, in 2nd it's Norris with 28 laps, and in 1st it's Piastri with 29 laps. But how did they qualify for the sprint race, the final sprint of the year? Well, Colapinto stayed where he was in 20th, and then in 19th it's Gasly, who dropped 1 position, and both of them started from the pit lane. And in 18th it's Hamilton, who dropped 6 positions, and he would start the race in from the pit lane as well, but he started 18th anyway. And then in 17th, it's Lawson who qualified. He gained 2 positions, but he would start the race from 16th. He was swapped with Stroll, who qualified 16th and dropped 7 positions, but ultimately he dropped 8 positions because he had to also start from the pit lane. There were 4 pit lane starts for the sprint. And then in 15th, it was Ocon who gained 2 positions. In 14th, it's Hülkenberg who dropped 3 positions. In 3rd, it was Bortoleto who gained 3 positions. In 12th, it was Behrman who gained 3 positions. In 11th, was Hadjar who dropped 6 positions. In 10th, it was Albon who dropped 3 positions. In 9th, it was Leclerc who lost 1 position. In 8th, it was Sainz who dropped 4 positions. In 7th, it was Antonelli who gained 3 positions. In 6th, it was Verstappen who stayed where he was. In 5th, it was Tsunoda who gained 8 positions. In 4th, it was Alonso who dropped 1 position. In 3rd, it was Norris who dropped 1 position. In 2nd, it was Russell who gained 12 positions. And in 1st, it was Piastri who stayed where he was. But how did the sprint go, I hear you ask? Well, in 20th position, it was Colapinto yet again who stayed where he was. And then in 19th, it was Stroll who dropped 2 positions. In 18th, it was Gasly who gained 1 position. In 17th, it was Hamilton who gained 1 position. In 16th, it was Hülkenberg who dropped 2 positions. In 15th, it was Ocon who stayed where he was. In 14th, it was Lawson who gained 2 positions. In 13th, it was Leclerc who dropped 4 positions. In 12th, it was Behrman who stayed where he was. In 11th, it was Bortoleto who gained 2 positions. In 10th, it was Albon who stayed where he was. In 9th, it was Hadjar who gained 2 positions. In 8th, it was Sainz who stayed where he was. In 7th, it was Alonso who dropped 3 positions. In 6th, it was Alonso who gained 1 position. In 5th, it was Tsunoda who stayed where he was. In 4th, it was Verstappen who gained 2 positions. In 3rd, it was Norris who stayed where he was. In 2nd, it was Russell who stayed where he was. And in 1st, it was Piastri who stayed where he was. Now let's talk about the qualifying session. This will be a bit confusing, so I'll try to minimize it to just where they finished in the race, in the sprint race, because otherwise I will get very confused. So in 20th, it was Colapinto who stayed where he was. In 19th, it was Stroll who stayed where he was in the sprint but started the race in 18th. In 18th, it was Hamilton who dropped 1 position but would start the race in 17th. In 17th, it was Ocon who would start the race in 16th but dropped 2 positions to where he was in the sprint. In 16th, it was Tsunoda who would start 15th but dropped 11 places to where he finished in the sprint race compared to qualifying. And then in 15th, it's Albon who would start 14th but dropped 5 positions between a sprint and qualifying. But then in 14th, it was Bortoleto. He is the one that affects everyone because he dropped 3 positions to where he actually finished in the race, but he has a 5-place grid penalty and would start the race in 19th. And now we are past the confusing point, so let's get back into it. In the next position, which is 13th, it's Behrman who lost 1 position. In 12th, it's Lawson who gained 2 positions. In 11th, it's Hülkenberg who gained 5 positions. In 10th, it's Leclerc who gained 3 positions. In 9th, it's Gasly who gained 9 positions. In 8th, it's Alonso who dropped 1 position. In 7th, it's Sainz who gained 1 position. In 6th, it's Hadjar who gained 3 positions. In 5th, it's Antonelli who gained 1 position. In 4th, it's Russell who dropped 2 positions. In 3rd, it's Russell who gained 1 position. In 2nd, it's Norris who gained 1 position. And in 1st, it's Piastri who stayed where he was. And now the whole world is on a nice edge, but let's talk about the race that gave me so many heart palpitations that my watch went off 3 times for a high heart rate, and I don't think it has calmed down yet. But in 20th, it was Hülkenberg who crashed out after a minor collision with Gasly, so he dropped 9 positions. And then in 19th, it was Behrman who had to retire the car due to damage following a really bad pit stop where they didn't take the jack off the car in time, and he got stuck, and then the car just basically tumbled from then on. He dropped 6 positions. Then in 18th, it's Hadjar who lost the wheel and had to retire very close to the end of the race. He dropped 12 positions. In 17th, it's Stroll, who also retired the car. Not sure what really happened, but it's Stroll. He gained 2 positions overall. And then Gasly, he, due to the contact with Hülkenberg, could not recover, but he finished the race and dropped 7 positions. In 15th, it's Ocon, who gained 2 positions. In 14th, it's Colapinto, who gained 6 positions. In 13th, it's Bortoletti, who gained 1 position to where he would have qualified, but he did start 19th, so he gained even more there. Hamilton gained 6 positions to where he qualified in 12th. And then in 11th, it's Albon, who gained 4 positions. And then Tsunoda in 10th, who gained 6 positions. In 9th, it's Lawson, who gained 3 positions. In 8th, it's Leclerc, who gained 2 positions. In 7th, it's Alonso, who gained 1 position. In 6th, it's Russell, who dropped 2 positions. In 5th, it's Antonelli, who stayed where he was. And then in 4th, it's Norris, who dropped 2 positions. In 3rd, it's Sainz, who gained 4 positions. 2nd podium of a Grand Prix, 3rd podium overall in a Williams. And then in 2nd, it's Piastri, who dropped 1 position, and Verstappen won the race and gained 2 positions. And now let's talk about the side stuff, because there has been a little bit of a change. But before we do start that, the driver of the day was Max Verstappen, and now all 3 McLaren the 2 McLaren drivers and Max Verstappen, the 3 contenders for the World Championship in terms of the drivers, are now level on race wins. 7 each between them. So now the drivers championship looks like this. In first, it's Norris with 408 points, with Verstappen in second with 396 points, 12 points behind Norris. In third, it's Piastri with 392 points, 4 points behind Verstappen. In fourth, it's Russell with 309 points, 83 points behind Piastri. In fifth, it's Leclerc with 230 points, 79 points behind Russell. In sixth, it's Hamilton with 152 points, 78 points behind Leclerc. In seventh, it's Antonelli with 150 points. He is 2 points behind Hamilton. In eighth, it's Albon, who is on 73 points, 77 points behind Antonelli. And then in ninth, it's Sainz with 64 points, 9 points behind Albon. In 10th, it's Hadjar with 51 points, 13 points behind Sainz. In 11th, it's Hülkenberg with 49 points, 2 points behind Hadjar. In 12th, it's Alonso with 48 points, 1 point behind Hülkenberg. In 13th, it's Behrman with 41 points, 7 points behind Alonso. In 14th, it's Lawson with 38 points, 3 points behind Behrman. In 15th, it's Tsunoda with 33 points, 5 points behind Lawson. In 16th, it's Ocon with 32 points, 1 point behind Tsunoda. In 17th, it's Stroll with 32 points, same points as Ocon. In 8th, it's Gasly with 22 points, 10 points behind Stroll. In 19th, it's Bortoletti with 19 points, 3 points behind Gasly. In 20th, it's Colapinto still with 0 points and 19 points behind Bortoletti. And as we all know, in 21st position, it's Dillon, who no longer races and is on the same points as his replacement Colapinto. And now let's look at the team, shall we? So in first, it's McLaren with 800 points, followed by Mercedes in second with 459 points. They are 341 points behind McLaren. And then in third, it's Red Bull Racing with 426 points, 33 points behind Mercedes. In fourth, it's Ferrari with 382 points, 44 points behind Red Bull. In fifth, it's Williams with 137 points, 245 points behind Ferrari. In sixth is Racing Bulls, 92 points, 45 points behind Williams. In seventh is Aston Martin with 80 points. They are 12 points behind Racing Bulls. In eighth, it's Haas with 73.7 points behind Aston Martin. In ninth, it's Kick Sauber with 68 points, 5 points behind Haas. And in 10th, it's Alpine with 22 points, 46 points behind Kick Sauber. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Formula Amateur. Thank you for listening to another episode of a race rundown, the penultimate race rundown of 2025. But don't worry, I'll be back on my birthday week, the first week of the 2026 season, when we will have 11 teams on the grid. But I would like to thank you all for listening to another episode, and don't forget that we have the final race next week. Don't forget to check out my lovely colleagues on the Be The Change Media Network, and don't forget to check out the website BeTheChangeMediaNetwork.com. FormulaAmateur.com is on its way. I haven't forgotten about it. It's still being worked on. I hope you have a lovely rest of your week, and get ready for another fascinating race rundown, the final one next Monday, where we will know who won the championship. Will it be Piastri? Will it be Verstappen? Will it be Norris? Who knows? Norris has to finish the race in third to claim the championship, and Verstappen and Piastri have to just win more than him or prevent him from getting minimum third. So we'll have to see how that goes. And as always, I'll have another episode of something completely different to the race rundown, another fascinating topic that we'll be talking about on Saturday. So get ready for that. Have a lovely week. Goodbye.